As we all know, floors wear over time. Floor traffic, family pets, furniture can leave wear patterns and scratches in the floor. That's where the FA8 comes in. Brian Strickland from Clarke American Standards joins me. Brian, let's take a look at this floor. What are we seeing?
Sure, we've got a pretty typical floor. This floor was laid about 11 years ago. It's in a kitchen, which is a high traffic area. You've got a family in here, you've got pets in here. So typical just dings and scratches are going to happen as they would with any floor. Specifically with this, there are some scratches right here in the top of the finish coat on this floor. The scratches aren't down into the wood, and those are probably caused by pets or just commonly walking across the floor. That is going to completely come out. Those scratches are not down into the wood. We're going to completely remove those with the FA8. There's some other things here. There's some actual damage to the wood underneath the surface of the finish. That is not going to come completely out because we're not going to sand the floor. However, once we're done with the FA8, that's going to look very, very nice.
So until the FA8, what other options were available to refinish these types of floors?
There were a couple of options out there. One is a traditional mechanical pad and recoat, and the other one is a chemical system. That traditional pad and recoat can be a little bit tricky. Factory finished floors, when they're laid, they're not sanded flat in place. So what happens is you have some high and some low spots. You take a traditional sander across that floor and you really could damage the wood underneath.
So the mechanical pad and recoat is a challenging process.
Yeah, it can be really tricky actually. In the finish of the surface of a factory finished floor is a mineral called aluminum oxide. Very, very hard, makes the surface extremely hard. The problem is when you go to sand that, you have aluminum oxide also in the sandpaper. So you're trying to refinish a floor with aluminum oxide finish in it with aluminum oxide sandpaper. It's very hard to do, leaves deep scratches in the finish. It doesn't look very good.
So you also mentioned a chemical process.
That's right, there's a chemical process. It's very costly, it's time consuming, and it's not very environmentally friendly. It's just messy to work with.
Right, well I have children and pets, and I know I don't want to expose them to a messy chemical process.
Absolutely. With a chemical process, you've got to worry about the safety concerns. You've got to be wearing gloves and goggles. You've got to take care of the disposal properly of that chemical. Plus, just as you mentioned, you get the odor and the vapors in the air. Everybody's going to be inhaling that. No reason to go with a chemical process when you have an environmentally friendly green process that we can do with the FA8.
So let's hear from other flooring professionals and hear what they have to say about the FA8.
Probably for the last 7-8 years, we've been putting a lot of hand scraped and a lot of distressed floors down. Now my customers are calling me back because they want them to be refinished. There's a couple ways to do it, but there's a chemical way, and the chemical way, my guys just ain't real comfortable with that. It seems like that this FA8 machine, which is small enough to get into the smallest places and stuff, works real good for them, and they have control of what it looks like, how the finish is going to turn out. So that's the big thing for me.
Oh yeah, it's lightweight, no tools required. Like I said, it'll plug right into the wall, and it just makes it so much easier.
Well, one of the things about all these brushes is they're not flat one side to the other. They're different grits, but they're a little varying in height, so you can get into those crevices and to those little areas, especially in wire brush and hand sculpted, or even into the pre-finished or factory finished floors with their bevels. With this, you get a little bit better abrasion because it's got different heights, so it's not doing flat. So that's the advantage of these brushes as they are built now, with a little varying height across the surface.
Well, again, as I said before, we put down a lot of distressed wood within the last 7-8 years. We put down a lot of the hand scraped. It was hard to get the thing abraded evenly so that my finish would stick nice on it. This machine solves that problem. It gets in the highs, it gets in the lows, and it's easy to handle. It's also lightweight, so my guys can take it upstairs, where they need to take it.
One of the things that I really like about the FA8 is, other than it's a 110 unit, but it's a unit that entrepreneurs, young entrepreneur floor covering people can buy this machine and get some education on finishing, and they can make a good living giving a good service to consumers, and there's millions of feet out there that need refinishing. It's an opportunity for young people to make a lot of money and do a good job for the wood flooring industry.